Good morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and here's your detailed weather forecast update for Friday the 22nd of August 2025. Heaps to talk about in today's weather update. That east coast storm that's brought some incredible rainfall accumulations over the past week, but especially the last 24 to 48 hours to the eastern states, in particular New South Wales and southeast Queensland, is now beginning to pull its moisture away from the coastline, so less rainfall is now expected over the coming couple of days. But we do still expect a storm to develop offshore from the Sydney area, which could bring some strong winds and showers throughout the course of this weekend. Strong system coming through for southeastern Australia, strong system also coming through for southwestern Australia. Plenty to talk about coming up in the next 2 weeks or so. All the details on the weather events listed, plus a lot more coming up in today's weather forecast update. Let's get stuck straight into things this morning. If you are brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. But over in New South Wales, you can see this low pressure system here still wrapping itself up, or it has been wrapping itself up over the last kind of 2 or 3 days or so, but it's now beginning to pull away to the coastline, and that's taking the moisture further offshore. We'll see if we can get the radar loop to load through here, and you can see this low pressure system now moving over the likes of about Orange into the more coastal regions of New South Wales, actually, which is expected to continue happening throughout the course of today, and this rainfall heading steadily further towards the east along with this low pressure system as it gets pushed out to sea. It's also expected to be pushed out by this cold front that's coming through into South Australia and Victoria that I'll talk about shortly. That's not expected to bring anything crazy in the way of severe weather to New South Wales or even to southeastern Australia as a whole, but it's going to be a driving force in pushing this weather system out into the Tasman Sea and keeping it there for a couple of days, which is expected to happen. Anyway, rainfall accumulations overnight, maximum falls about 180 millimetres around the Gold Coast and into the northeast of New South Wales. 150 millimetres or so fell into the Illawarra coastline around Point Perpendicular, and widespread falls between 70 to 100 millimetres, a lot lighter than expected actually through the mid-north coast and into parts of the northeast. That's good news. Definitely pushing over 100 millimetres would have caused some very serious flooding concerns, but the rainfall didn't materialise in exactly the same way that we were forecasting. It actually came a lot more from the north. It was a lot more northerly based, which means once those winds swung around to the north, a lot of locations on the New South Wales coastline, especially those between Taree up to about Grafton, were very protected indeed from this rainfall, and as such they didn't pick up some significant rainfall accumulations. That's also exactly why the Hunter region was kind of a dry spot on the New South Wales coastline. They only picked up 10 to 25 millimetres overnight, which is exactly as forecast, but the Illawarra coastline, which juts out a little bit further than the protected Hunter region coastline, picked up a lot more rainfall than locations that can typically be quite wetter than the Illawarra coastline. Looking at the forecast right now, you can see the rainfall is expected to continue to move offshore throughout the remainder of today. We're not expecting this rainfall to linger for much longer, to be honest. And then we're going to see a low pressure system develop sometime later today offshore from the Sydney or the Hunter coastline. This low pressure system is going to be weak. It's not expected to be anything strong. Definitely nothing of east coast low proportions, that's for sure. But it's still expected to situate itself close to the New South Wales coastline, which will bring more showers and potentially some strong winds for a brief period of time through Saturday and into Saturday night, early Sunday morning, say, before this low pressure system begins to sink further to the south into the Tasman Sea and pulls away from the New South Wales coastline without being anything really of a weather system by Sunday night into Monday morning, and it just kind of crumbles down on itself through Monday. Again, absolutely no threat to the New South Wales coastline in any significant capacity whatsoever, but it is going to bring some more showers, especially to locations through the Hunter region, and then those north of Newcastle up through Seal Rocks and then into Nelson Bay, and then further north up to about Foster and Taree. We're going to see some more showers and some more rain activity through this weekend, in particularly Saturday afternoon, but also out to Sunday morning and extending out towards Sunday afternoon as well. A further 25 to even 50 millimetres is a possibility. Winds aren't expected to be too strong from this low pressure system, and you can see any low pressure system offshore from New South Wales can produce damaging wind gusts with ease, and this weather system is going to be no exception to that rule. We are expecting a brief period of sustained winds to approach 50 to 60 kilometres an hour across the New South Wales coastline, north from the border with Victoria, right up to about Seal Rocks or Forster, up into the mid-north coast, but we could be seeing some stronger wind gusts associated with showers pushing closer to that 85 or 90 kilometre an hour mark. A severe weather warning is very unlikely to be issued, but hazardous surf conditions are possible this weekend, so not that it's going to be very pleasant weather for boating at all, but it will be a change from the miserable rainy slop that we're seeing across the eastern states. But I'd still strongly advise against marine and shore-based activities throughout the course of this weekend. Conditions aren't going to be pleasant at all. But like I said, further rainfall accumulations pushing close to that 25 or even 50 millimetre totals in places are possible, but we're not expecting anything too crazy in the way of rainfall. Unfortunately, unfortunately, the wet weather will continue at some point on Saturday for Sydney. Not looking forward to that, and I imagine a lot of people really not looking forward to further wet weather. It's just been crazy wet over across a wide swathe of the eastern states, which is why this weather system, even though it didn't produce the significant rainfall accumulations we were expecting across a few places, it's still producing moderate and minor flooding across a wide swathe of locations. It's highly unusual to see moderate flooding from a rainfall event that only drops 100 millimetres across New South Wales, but that is a testament to just how wet it has been recently over the state, and that as such it does not take much to push those rivers above the flood alerts. Extremely saturated ground, extremely saturated catchments, and that is a real problem when we're forecasting weather systems like this, especially this one, which was at some point tipped to produce some very significant rainfall accumulations. It was very much a concern on the flooding standpoint. Thankfully, what happened overnight was definitely the best case scenario, but a lot of big puddles around, a lot of flooding still around, and I imagine the situation will get briefly worse before it gets better throughout the remainder of this morning, and then it will should begin to properly get better later this afternoon by the looks of things. The heaviest rainfall accumulations to my knowledge was at Point Perpendicular Automatic Weather Station, which picked up nearly 300 millimetres of rainfall since Monday, 289. A lot of that came on Monday and Tuesday, but also a further 140 millimetres overnight, and some significant falls as well in the Sunshine Coast and also on the Gold Coast. Both spots had places picking up about 150 millimetres, the bulk of that coming through in the last 60 hours. So it definitely was wet for Queensland. It was a little bit drier than expected for a wide swathe of New South Wales locations, but still a very wet weather system. It doesn't look like there's anything else to this magnitude on the forecast either for the New South Wales coastline, especially for the eastern states. You can see 14-day rainfall accumulations between Saturday the 23rd of August out to Friday the 5th of September. Just a couple of millimetres coming through here and there for the New South Wales coastline. It looks like dry weather might actually kick in for the start of August and even into the start of September as well. I meant the end of August rather, but the start of September looking dry across the eastern states. The entirety of the eastern states, actually right down to Victoria, looking high and dry for the start of September. Very good news indeed. While September is expected to be marginally wetter than average across the eastern states, October, the start of storm season, is expected to be crazy in the way of rainfall. A lot of forecast models suggesting above average rainfall throughout late September into early October. So having a few more weeks of dry weather and sunshine onto this very saturated section of Australia would be very good news indeed. Let's go into southeastern Australia as well. We do have a significant storm system or series of storm systems expected to come through later on next week. A brief weak cold front coming through throughout the course of today. A few millimetres of rainfall expected across the South Australian coastline. Same deal with Victoria, and about 25 millimetres possible for the west coast of Tasmania, with some snowfall also possible. A higher pressure system will get sandwiched between that low pressure system into the Tasman Sea that we've just talked about, and another low pressure system moving across Western Australia later this weekend, which means conditions are going to get cold, calm and collected across much of southern and southeastern Australia through both Saturday and Sunday. Rainfall could kick up for the eastern half of Tasmania through Sunday night into early Monday morning, and then showers are expected to build through Monday night for South Australia and then into Tuesday for the western half of Victoria, moving into the eastern half of Victoria through Wednesday as that cold front pushes through, and then it's going to be wet weather kicking in after about the 26th of August on Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, heaps of rainfall coming through. That rainfall only picks up again on Friday, and plenty of snowfall also expected. We're expecting a prolonged period of strong southerly air mass to sweep up from the south, and that's going to bring plenty of showers, plenty of snow, and some strong westerly winds to parts of Tasmania, Victoria and South Australia. It's also going to keep temperatures very, very cold indeed, as you'd expect on a quite a potent snowfall forecast, and Friday, Saturday and Sunday just expected to be quite wet as well. Plenty more rainfall still coming through from more weather systems before it finally begins to dry off for the first day of September. Another high pressure system building in its place. Generally speaking, we've got about another month of winter weather to go, give or take, for the southeast of Australia once September rolls around. Tasmania, winter storms can roll into December. They can run at any time of the year, but they can properly run in towards December. So probably there's still a few more months to the west coast of Tasmania with winter weather, but definitely the days are numbered on these weather systems coming through across southeastern Australia. Let's talk rainfall accumulations right now, starting Monday the 25th of August. 10-day rainfall accumulations going out to Wednesday the 3rd of August, September rather, inclusive. You can see some pretty significant rainfall accumulations expected into the southeast corner of South Australia. Widespread falls between 40 to 70 millimetres expected. Adelaide looking at a solid 50 millimetres as well. Falls around that 25 to 50 millimetre mark also for the Eyre Peninsula. Falls are also looking to be pretty healthy across a wide swathe of Victoria, especially into the western part of the state. Falls south of about Ballarat and Bendigo around that 25 to 50 millimetre mark as well. Melbourne looking at about 30 millimetres of rainfall. The Victorian Alps also looking at some solid rainfall accumulations, and a few light drops expected into the southern half of New South Wales as well. The west coast of Tasmania will run away with about 250 millimetres of rainfall. This is proper August rainfall coming through. Very good to see indeed, because they are falling well behind on their rainfall anomalies so far this year. So 250 millimetres coming through in this 10-day period, which could actually get a lot wetter with just showers and rainfall coming through across the west coast of Tasmania. Wouldn't be riding off falls around 300 millimetres around Zeehan or Mount Reid. It'll be interesting to see what rainfall falls there. And 10-day snowfall accumulations as well, looking very snowy indeed. In fact, it could be one of the snowiest weeks, if not the snowiest week of the year for Tasmania. 65 centimetres on the forecast across the higher country of Tasmania, and falls between 40 to 50 centimetres now the forecast across New South Wales, and 30 to 40 centimetres on the forecast for Victoria. Other major forecast models as well suggesting some very snowy conditions both across Tasmania, 55 centimetres from the GFS, and pushing close to 40 centimetres over into New South Wales and Victoria as well from the GFS, with snowfall making it as far north as Bathurst in New South Wales as well. Some snowfall also possible onto the Barrington Tops. Definitely nothing into the northern tablelands though. But yeah, definitely looking at a snowy, cold, miserable week across southeastern Australia, starting from about Tuesday. Heaps of snowfall, heaps of rainfall, classic winter's weather coming through. Could get severe at times, so again, pay close attention to the forecast models. Check out our cousins over in New Zealand, the snowfall that's coming through there. We could be looking at up to 2 or even 3 metres of snowfall around the Mount Cook area, so it definitely is going to get cold. It's definitely going to get snowy across New Zealand as well, and just this part of the southern hemisphere is just going to be really cold, really wet and really snowy throughout the selected time period between Tuesday out to about Sunday, Monday, when conditions will then finally begin to ease off into the first couple of days of September. Interesting to see, that's for sure, and I'll have more updates on this weather system as it begins to develop. Southwest and Western Australia is also looking at some severe weather later on this week. We could be seeing a strong cold front move through. A few showers still lingering here and there across the southwest Capes and into the Perth coast as well. Around Rotto, we could be seeing a few more showers throughout the course of today, but again, nothing significant is expected. But developing on Saturday, we are going to see that northwest cloud band coming in from, you guessed it, the northwest over in the Indian Ocean, and then that rainfall is going to be pulled into the Pilbara and the Gascoyne region, then down into the Wheatbelt and even into parts of the Goldfields through Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Some good storms, but some great rainfall accumulations are expected. Widespread falls between 10 to 40 millimetres are possible through parts of the Pilbara region and into the Gascoyne as well, and even parts of the Wheatbelt could be seeing between 15 to 25 millimetres of rainfall as well. A cold front is going to begin developing offshore from late Saturday night. The first rainfall is expected to arrive into the Perth metro area from prefrontal showers coming through Saturday night into Sunday morning after about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and then that front sweeping up and sweeping in from about 6 o'clock in the morning. Plenty of showers, plenty of storms are expected as this cold front approaches the southwest Capes, reaching the Perth metro area at what looks to be about 8 or 9 o'clock at this point in time. Could be a little bit earlier than that, and some good rainfall accumulations and some strong winds are most certainly expected as this weather system comes through. Some wind gusts pushing close to 90 or even 100 kilometres an hour is possible, and some heavy falls are expected for a brief period of time. Sunday is just going to be a washout, heaps of showers coming through. In fact, they pick up once again later on in the day as that southerly air mass sweeps up. More showers expected through Monday. Monday is going to be a really wet one by the looks of things. It looks like it could be a classic 30mm winter's weather day, and then showers do begin to ease off of the Perth metro area through late Monday into early Tuesday. More rainfall still expected for the south coast. In fact, it looks like it's going to be a bit of a wet one around Albany and Esperance on Tuesday morning into Tuesday afternoon. Showers continuing through Wednesday and Thursday, finally drying off by around Friday or Saturday the 29th or the 30th of August, just in time for some September sunshine, which looks to be coming through on the forecast as well for southwest and WA. September not looking like it's going to have the wettest start by the looks of things. In fact, September is actually tipped to be drier than usual for the first time in a couple of months across southwest and WA. But yeah, rainfall accumulation is looking very healthy indeed. This is for the next 10 days out to the end of August. Some great rainfall accumulations are possible. 30mm possible on Sunday, 30mm Monday, 30mm Tuesday. We could be looking at rainfall accumulations getting close to 100mm around the Perth metro area to wrap up August on what has already been a far wetter than usual month across a wide swathe of the southwest. Other locations looking at falls between 25 to 75mm. A little bit hard to put an exact number on at this point in time. Rainfall accumulations onto the south coast are definitely expected to run away above about 60 or 70mm, but a few spots could be a little bit dry, so we'll keep a close eye on things. Unfortunately, it looks like out into the weed belt, rainfall accumulations aren't going to be too serious or anything too crazy out there. Widespread falls between 10 to 15 millimeters are expected as that rainfall comes through into the central wheat belt on Saturday and into Sunday morning, and then rainfall accumulations of a further 5 to 15 millimeters are possible from that front coming through on Sunday, and any strong enough showers that make it out into the wheat belt. But again, nothing too crazy expected into the way of rainfall out into the wheat belt at this point in time. But great falls expected through the north as well. The Pilbara and the Gascoyne looking at rainfall accumulations which could get close to 100 millimeters around the Exmouth and the Onslow coastline. Definitely the best rainfall they've seen in quite some time, that's for sure. Northwest cloud bands at this time of the year are not unusual, especially of this magnitude. That's not an unusual weather system to have. We normally see maybe one of these every couple of years. So again, whilst it is a rare occurrence, when they do happen, they happen pretty much the exact same every single time, just in different locations. But it'll be interesting to see how much rainfall, and I'll keep a close eye on the Exmouth and Onslow forecast as well, because that does look to be some pretty serious rainfall for this time of the year. You can actually see a little bit of showers and a little bit of rainfall beginning to get up there, dragged in by the cold front moving through southeastern Australia this morning. Interesting stuff, that's for sure. And if you have enjoyed this forecast update, well, I'm going to leave it off here, then please consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. A special shout out to the channel sponsors. Their names are on screen right now. I could not run the show without them, and their support is, as always, massively appreciated. Thank you so much to all of the support as well through the East Coast storm coverage. There'll be plenty more coverage in the storms coming for southwestern and southeastern Australia throughout the next week or so. So subscribe if that is your cup of tea. But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.